guys? Cash Vod's back here for another review for my channel. And what I want to share with you today is the review of THOR RAGNAROK. Opening, it was kind of really, it was kind of funny, you can say, because Thor was kind of like talking to himself in that cage, and he was only talking to a skeleton. And it's like, did I think he's been locked in there for so long that he's become all crazy? Or was he just entertaining himself for humor?
Maybe.
Anyways, so after that, it was pretty funny when he first met, that big lava doom dude of Asgard. And he was having a conversation with him, and he kept spinning around on that chain, and he's like, excuse me, let me come back around. Interrupted him with that like 3 times. I think 3 times. Anyway, it was pretty funny, and the guy was getting angry, and it was pretty funny how he kind of had that awkward timing of getting his hammer and then finally beating the shit out of his army. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to cuss right there.
That's alright.
Anyways, so, yeah, thanks a lot. So, anyway, enough with that intro scene. It was, now with characters. Ever since Odin, unfortunately, passed, Hela, the goddess of death, kind of like came back to power. And started to take over Asgard. Broke Thor's hammer, guys, like it was a piece of glass. Words exactly from Loki.
Yep.
And oh yeah, and Loki, he is really not all the bad guy in this one. You can say he was like a semi-hero that helped defeat Hela along with Thor and the Hulk.
Yeah, just because he was sort of a semi-hero, that doesn't mean he's a good guy now. He's still a bad guy.
Or you can say he was kind of neutral in this one. Because he kind of didn't know which side he was relying on all the time. But anyways, so yeah, Dr. Banner, the Hulk, was in it. It was pretty funny. We got to hear him talk more in his character. Because Hulk usually never talks. He only says like, smash or Hulk. Or then in this one, he said, monster. And just because he sees a monster, he always says in his mind, I need to smash and kill it. But anyways, so yeah, Hela, very awesome actress for the role. I think she did a pretty good job.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett, that's her name, thanks. And if you guys didn't know, she was also the Russian bad leader in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull back in 2009.
Yeah, I know that, but yeah.
Anyways, so, and then with some other characters, that dude who calls himself Grandmaster on that planet,
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I just have to say, in a way, he was pretty hilarious. Oh, and what was more hilarious was obviously seeing Stan Lee, once again, being Thor's barber.
And actually, I just learned this, but the director of the movie played that Rock character.
Yeah, you mean that Rock character who was that gladiator? Korg, yeah.
Well, the director of the movie played that character. In case you didn't know that.
Thanks for the info.
Taika Waititi, I think that's his name.
Once again, thanks for the info. And I also want to talk about Valkyrie. Her character in the film was a former Asgardian warrior.
A badass lady.
Yep, who had kind of won against Loki in a little fight. Because during the fight, Loki had upped her wrist a bit to read her arm, and then he says, "You're Valkyrian." So he was pretty surprised that it was an Asgard warrior. But the problem is that when Thor told her that Odin is dead, obviously she probably looked a little heartbroken for a second. Because he said Hela has taken over the kingdom, and she said if Hela's back, Asgard's already lost.
Yep.
So with her character, it seems like she was on that Grandmaster's planet just to just to drink and forget about that whole past, because it was revealed in her backstory that in the past, when Asgard was in battle with, I think, Hela and her forces in the past.
Yeah. That all the other Valkyrian soldiers were killed by Hela.
And her closest one sacrificed herself to save Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And how Valkyrie kind of fell, and then she ran away from all that pain. So I feel pretty sad for her character. I hope that we will see her sometime in the future. And it wasn't revealed at the end that she became an Asgardian warrior again. But we'll see what goes from there.
Yep.
So yeah, guys, if you haven't heard earlier, it was pretty funny how, in all the Marvel movies, you always saw Stan Lee as a cameo somewhere. And he was one of the executive producers, and he was Thor's barber in a way. He had this really cool, futuristic-looking cutter razor things, and then he's like, "No, not my hair, no!" And then, obviously, he cut it. So that was pretty hilarious. Then when we saw it, I'm like, oh, damn, he looks hella bad. And then...
there's that Hela term again.
there's the Hela term. So, yeah, Hela. It's always a coincidence why people are using Hela more often now, just because of her character. And now I want to talk about Thor's power in a way. Now, just because he lost his hammer, guys, did not mean he became completely powerless, like what the comics say. They kind of switched it up in this movie, because they didn't want to make him too weak and all that. So in this movie, when Thor lost his hammer, Odin was reminding him, "What are you, the god of hammers?" And he's like, "Or are you the god of thunder?" And so he was telling Thor that the hammer was only a source tool to help control his power.
Exactly.
So he didn't really need the hammer. It was just also a convenient tool for smashing and being in battle. But anyways, without his hammer, he learned somehow to embrace and gain control of his, thunder and the lightning powers. And he can still be in battle, as we saw at the end battle on the frostbite on the bridge. That looked like it was rebuilt after the destruction in the first movie.
Yep.
And we also can't forget one good character, Heimdall.
Oh yeah.
Who was the ex-gatekeeper?
Heimdall.
Heimdall. Yeah. He always had ability. He had an ability for vision. He can watch and see all of the 9 worlds.
All of the 9 realms.
And see what's going on, because he was kind of like a visional guardian in a way, and if there was any trouble, he'd let the king or Thor know.
Yep.
And in this movie, Heimdall, he was not gatekeeper anymore. He was more like a warrior to save all these people with his his frostbite sword that he had.
Yep.
And people of Asgard knew where it was because Hela was hella mad. Hela was hella mad that it was stolen.
All right.
And now I want to have my special guest, who's the cameraman, Scott, a Pop Hole fan, for a short moment, talk about the post-credit scenes.
Alright, so the post-credit scenes. I actually talked about the mid-credit scene in my initial review on my channel, and that one was Thor and the rest of the gang in this ship, and there's this other giant ship hovering over Thor's ship, and that was very interesting. I do think it's teasing Infinity War, and I do think that that's Thanos' ship. So we'll see that continuation in Infinity War. And the second post-credit scene that happened after the credits was the Grandmaster being sort of in a bit of a bundle with all these other Sicarian people waiting to take him down because they're doing this revolution. And that's interesting. And I think in that post-credit scene, the Grandmaster may have died, but nothing is ever set in stone in comic book movies. He might not be dead. So...
Well, there was an old saying that my mom had always says. In movies like that, if the body disappears and if you don't see it die, it is not dead.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we might see him return, we might not. We'll see what happens. So yeah, those are the post-credit scenes.
The ice and snow from the midnight sun where the hot spring glow. The amber of the gold will drive our ships